everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now entering the Cinema Chop Shop. So park your ass right there. And while you're there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button at the bottom and comment on this video. Today, I have a special guest hailing all the way from Ohio with one basketball championship. It is Razor. How you doing today, sir?
Hey, what's going on? I've been watching the channel since I guess what was it, a few months ago you started it, and I guess we knew each other before that. So glad to see you, digging up these old movies that people ought to check out. Some of them maybe they could pass over, but I guess we'll let the audience be the judge.
Right. So today, more specifically, this is actually going to be Chop It Up episode 3. I forgot to actually say that in the previous Chop It Up, but whatever, it's in the title, so I guess they should know. So this is Chop It Up episode 3, and what we're focusing on today is that we're going to talk about extremely crappy movies and whether they're good or not. We're kind of focusing on two, but if we talk about more, so be it. So what are the two movies that I recommended for you to watch?
So there was the Ice Cream Man and Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2.
Yes. All right. Out of those two movies, which one is the shittier one?
Well, that's a complicated question because I guess Ice Cream Man was unquestionably shitty, but some of it looks like they were like clearly trying to do a lot of these gags and make it look like as retarded as possible. So I would have to pick that one, but you could make the argument that either one. Plus, the other thing I hated about Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 was that I think like almost half of it was flashback scenes from the original.
Yes, that was my biggest gripe with that movie. Like, I didn't understand. I was like, if I wanted to watch the first movie, I could have just watched the first movie. Like, I didn't need like a scene for scene reenactment of this whole freaking movie. Like, I thought it was just gonna be like, oh, they're gonna reenact the murder and that's it. But literally, like, he kept like, yeah, and then there was more, and then flashback. And you're just like, what are you doing? And it really literally went through the whole damn movie. Like, I could, when we were like, me and my wife were sitting there watching it, she was like, you really want to watch this shit? And I was just like, well, I mean, we already started watching it. I might as well just go ahead and finish it. So that movie
Well,
was
yeah,
something.
and the other thing, like I guess the real problem with it was the novelty of the first movie was that it was a Killer Santa, and the second one is what Killer Santa's
Brother.
scarred brother. Yeah, that was like really, it was a very meaningless gag because he doesn't have a mask. He doesn't have almost any other unique characteristic as a villain, except maybe I think he does the facial expressions rather well. Forgot the actor's name,
Those facial
but
expressions were terrible.
that what right. But he had to. I mean, think about it that way. He had to do something in order to make the role
Unique.
have a little bit of charisma, right? But there was just no real gimmick to it, right? There's Michael, what's his name? Michael Myers has the Halloween mask, and then there's Jason with the hockey mask, and you got. I mean, I saw your other video about all the lesser known horror movie villains, and all of them have some sort of
Unique flair.
ridiculous defect. Yeah, even the scuba. By the way, I want to check out that scuba film,
Dude, that's
Amsterdam.
actually a good damn movie. Like, low key, Amsterdam is a really good movie. Like, that shit's fun to watch. Low key.
But yeah, I think it was just yeah, I think you can make the argument that in terms of the actual product, the Ice Cream Man was much worse for other reasons, but definitely there was no effort in Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2.
Except money grab, right? Like,
Right, yeah,
it's
well,
like
I
this
think
is the
maybe they
cash.
were on such a low budget that they were like, well, let's just go back to the film room and splice a little bit here and put, you
A
know,
little bit. You mean a lot of it? Like, they
right,
literally,
yeah,
like,
they got carried away.
yeah, because the movie didn't pick up until the second half. Like, and then that was flashbacks. It was flashbacks of how he became crazy, and it was like, oh man, come on, like, this movie is a flashback within a flashback. It started to get really repetitive. But honestly, to me, I actually enjoyed the Ice Cream Man more than I enjoyed Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Well, I think the enjoyment of Ice Cream Man is in how, I guess, like unbelievably cartoonish it is. From we were talking about when I was watching with my girlfriend, and she was talking about the one kid who was supposed to be the fat kid, and she kept talking about how he must have been wearing a pillow under his shirt or something because
He wasn't
he
even
cl-
fat.
yeah, he just looked like slightly chubby, but not like that was his natural. Like he didn't look fat at all, like you said. He looked like maybe he was wearing a padded shirt or something.
Yeah, like the whole time they kept calling him fat. I'm just like, dude, he's not even fat. Like all these fat jokes, I'm just like, dude, you could have really got like a fat kid to actually play this role if you're gonna make all these fat jokes. Like at least that's what I felt. Oh yeah, by any chance, if my mic goes like robotic for any reason, let me know because it does that from time to time. It's bipolar.
Yeah, it's been fine until now.
Oh, all right. But yeah, but honestly, my biggest takeaway from the Ice Cream Man, I honestly liked Clint Howard's performance as the Ice Cream Man, as Gregory Tudor. I liked it. I'm not gonna lie. Like low key, he was pretty cool. Like he was believable as like kind of like a maniac.
Well, I think he brought the psychological imbalance to the role, and yeah, I agree with that. I think like if maybe they would have put better script writing into it, maybe it could have been like because the idea of an Ice Cream Man villain is actually pretty. It's a pretty workable one because there actually was an assassin who was an Ice Cream Man in Jersey in the 80s, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, there was they probably didn't know about it, but if you watch the Iceman, which is a Michael Shannon film from I think 4 or 5 years ago, which is
Yeah, he
about a
was a
mom.
hitman.
Yeah, but his main collaborator was this other guy who was also a killer, and he was an ice cream man. His name was Mr. Softy or something.
Mr.
So
Softy? What
yeah,
the?
exactly. Yeah. So the concept is great, and the whole idea, like they were kind of crafting it around the Pied Piper myth. I
Yeah.
liked that. It was very that wasn't the maybe what the one of the few intelligent themes about the movie was that.
Yeah, because I've noticed that this is the thing. What I've noticed is film production companies tend to remake movies that have already established themselves pretty well and have a pretty good name behind them. And I feel like they kind of glance over some of these like gimmicky 80 movies. I mean 90s movies. These are 90s movies, like early 90s horror movies. Like they glance over them. And honestly, if they were taken serious and given like an actual script behind it, they could actually make a pretty decent film. Like you said, Ice Cream Man, like if taken serious and maybe like worked into a more realistic realm, could be a really interesting movie. So would The Dentist. So would I I know this isn't a horror movie, but The Demolitionist, like the female RoboCop, her outfit and the idea behind the movie, even though it's like a straight up RoboCop ripoff, like that movie could have been a lot better. But I digress. Like, there's a lot of gimmicky '90s movies. Like, even have you seen Jack Frost?
Yeah, I think I saw it with Michael Keaton. Yeah,
Wait,
that
what's no, no, no,
was
not that one. No, we're talking about Jack Frost, the mutant killer snowman.
yeah, but wasn't that with him?
Nah, Michael Keaton is Jack Frost, the kids version.
Okay, maybe
You're getting them mixed up.
maybe I think I did see the horror movie version though.
The horror movie is terrible, but to me the idea is actually pretty cool. Like, but the acting is freaking
Well,
horrible.
yeah, the problem is that the tropes themselves end up being I'm assuming that when especially the killer Santa trope was driven into the ground. I believe Silent Night, Deadly Night isn't the only series to use that, and then you sort of you murder the actual idea as opposed to creating a good film because like I do believe just like what was the ET copycat? There was another like ugly ass alien.
Wasn't it called like
Um,
Mac or something? That little
yeah,
orange.
like so people can clearly see the knockoff as opposed to the genuine article. The same thing happened. I remember as a kid there was a Bug's Life and there was Ants.
Oh yeah.
So
Hey, but Ants and Bugs Life were good though. Both of them were good.
they say that, but commercially, I believe Ants did horribly.
Yeah,
So
dope though.
like
Loki.
right. So everybody. like you said, there's definitely workable elements of the Ice Cream Man, but if people start to see, well, this concept's been tried and it failed, they can only take that risk so many times as a studio. Now, I think nowadays they could certainly, if you have like, somebody like Judd Apatow or Todd Phillips or one of those directors, they could revive it easily and make it, they could put somebody like a real, I know you said that you liked Clint Howard's performance, but they could put someone like Jack Black as the Ice Cream Man. They could put someone,
Jack Black, good lord.
well, they could put people. There's plenty of actors that I think would love to explore that horror element. Shia LaBeouf.
Hey, Shia
Um,
LaBeouf is an amazing actor though. Like he kind of showed me what he was worth in Fury. Once I saw him in Fury, I was like, all right, I can't look at him as that horrible actor from Transformers. So like I kind of got over my Shia LaBeouf bias after
so
Fury.
right, and I think even if they wanted to put someone who is somebody like maybe a little bit of surprise actor in, let's say, I don't know, Antonio Banderas, they could put in as the Ice Cream Man. There's many ways. Like they could go with the cheese as well, but they could just make it better. The other thing I wanted to say was that the wardrobes for the cops in Ice Cream Man it was one of the most dumbest. That's why I think they were really trying to like it
Team
was almost
touchdown.
a parody because they were wearing like wool ties with clashing patterns and stuff like that. Anybody can notice that, even people. I mean, you see me, I'm not exactly Mr. Armani here, but it was like ridiculous dress choices for those cops.
Yeah, I mean a lot of it. I mean even the flashback scenes into the psych ward. Oh my god,
Yeah,
it looked really really bad. Like I just couldn't take it serious. Like I was like, what the hell is going on here? But
happy, happy, happy thoughts.
right.
Yeah.
So, but that movie, and then like so, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. I think honestly, if they probably would have took a little bit more time being original and actually trying to focus on the brother's story, I think maybe it would have been a lot more watchable. But I feel that the fact that if you're watching this sequel, I'm more than likely assuming that you saw the first version. So rewatching the first half, the whole first movie in snippets is just going to bore the hell out of you. And then once the movie actually starts, you're not even going to want to watch it anymore. Well, at least that's what it was with me. Once the movie started already, I honestly didn't even care anymore. And then even when I did put my train of thought in, like, okay, now I'm going to judge this movie as its own, as an individual, and I'm going to watch it. I still didn't like it because it was just stupid. It was just him trying to seek vengeance on the Mother Teresa looking lady from the orphanage that he originally came from.
Well, yeah, I think the issue that you're bringing up, where the start of the movie gets delayed until they get through all the apparently unmissable hints from the first movie, like it diminishes the character. I forget what his name was, but the the brother, he ends up being just and I think he brought the whole element of the rage and the resentment when he's getting interviewed by that psychiatrist. Like I think he could have been, you could clearly see that he was drumming it up, but maybe, I mean, it sounds like you think he was like overacting too.
Oh,
um
definitely. Like
yeah,
he was trying to sell it way too. Like he was really really trying to sell it, and I guess you could say he was trying to be unique, but honestly, like it just looked I couldn't take it serious. It looked stupid. Like it looked really, really like beyond retarded. Watching him like, like like I couldn't do it. It
and
reminded me
then
of
and then when he finally had that scene where he, near the end, where he's actually, it's him brutalizing that neighborhood, they had to fit in all of that like gory carnage into such a short time. It wasn't plausible. Plus, he was shooting, I mean, I know this is getting a little bit nerdy, but he was shooting a revolver with 6 shots, and I think I counted like 15 shots without him
yes. I said the
reloading
same
those.
thing. I was like, okay, this man has an extended clip invisibly inside of a revolver. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what we're doing. Also, that kind of to me that kind of took away the whole element. Like, yeah, I've seen horror movies where they utilize weapons, like actual physical guns, but I don't know. Like, I certain movies, like I can't like certain characters just don't need guns, and it doesn't look right with them. And I felt like him utilizing a gun didn't work with him. Like Zito in Maniac when he like wields the double barrel shotgun, that works for him. The Prowler when he has the sawed off shotgun, that works for him. You know, but like this little Magnum or whatever he has, like a little revolver, little Western exclusive, his John Wayne exclusive, it just didn't work with me, man. Like I felt like it didn't belong. Like I felt like he needed some sort of like close range weapon, and the revolver just threw me off.
Well, yeah, when you have someone, first of all, just using a regular handgun, and then the shots are fatal, so you're not seeing like the gore. That's really what I think horror movie fans go for. Like if you think about it, have you seen what's that movie? I think it's I Married an Axe Murderer, or no, Serial Mom. Have you seen that?
Serial Mom?
So yeah,
No.
it's a
Is that
parody,
new?
but what? No, it's from like 1991 or something.
No, I haven't seen it.
So
I think I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
one of the scenes they make fun of the whole idea that the way that horror movies get a little bit more I guess like they get a little bit more of a trademark is by getting creative with their instruments of death. So this woman who's the axe murderer goes through like five, or she's trying to choose her weapon. She eventually settles on a rack of lamb, and she just bludgeons this other woman with a rack. It was hilarious.
You
But
see,
yeah, the idea, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Obviously, people are going to recognize that. You
yeah.
have, the machete. Well, Jason in one film he uses a machete, in other films he uses an axe. You got,
He also uses a harpoon, I believe, in one film. He Jason uses a bunch of different weapons other than his hands, other than the machete. Of course, he's known for the machete, but he uses I think he uses like like kind of like a weed whacker or some sort of upward saw or something. It's weird, but Jason has a wide range of weapons that he's used throughout the Friday the 13th series. I think he killed somebody with a guitar in Jason Hits Manhattan, if I'm not mistaken.
when you use a firearm, you actually lose the anticipation and of the, because you can see somebody getting creeped up on with, whatever it is, like, if they're creeping up on them with, I don't know, a lead pipe, whatever it is. That's really why I think, like you said, it diminishes the actual suspense of the scene. That's why they call it suspense, because your heart rate is going up as you anticipate the actual action. Now, if you have a guy just whips it out, like an Indiana Jones, what's the, that, and that's one of the reasons that was like a huge gag, that he shot a guy who was doing his whole sword routine. So
Yeah,
unless it's an actual joke, which in this case it wasn't, you're basically wasting the scene.
exactly. There's only one movie where I could think of. Well, not really, but yeah, one movie I could think of that, even though I said Maniac and Prowler and things like that, they use a gun. Yeah, I'm going to exclude them for now. But there's one movie where the killer uses a gun, and honestly, to me, it was the most warranted thing I've ever seen in my life. Have you seen Terrifier?
No.
All right, so in this scene, the villain, the antagonist, whatever, he's getting his ass beat, like he's losing, and it looks like, oh, the victim finally turned the table. Yes, yes, it's time for revenge. This man pulls out a gun out of an ankle holster and shoots her ass. Randomest thing ever. I didn't see it coming. It was the most random thing ever, and a lot of people hate that. But honestly, I felt like it was like one of the most realistic things ever. If there's a killer, if there's a serial killer, and this man is using like blunt objects, knives, things like that, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, the victim turns the tables on him, and he's left defenseless. He needs a plan B, and in this case, Art the Clown had a plan B. He had that pistol on his ankle. He shot her ass, and you could tell it frustrated him in the film because you could tell he didn't want to use the pistol, like it was like some last resort thing, and he was kind of like mad that he had to use it, and then he ends up like trying to shoot her, and he realizes that the clip's empty, so he goes back into his warehouse and then comes back and unloads the whole clip in her ass, like out of frustration. So you have these movies like, and a lot of people hated that. Like when people watch the Terrifier, a lot of people watch it for like this one particular scene that's extremely gory, and everybody knows it because of that. It's the Saw scene. Everybody knows it. Like when people say watch Terrifier, it's always for that Saw scene. So, but then I noticed that people when they complain about the film, they're like, oh, whatever, like the actors and actresses were horrible. Well, yeah, it kind of feels like an '80s film. If you watch '80s films, you know that the acting is going to be shitty. Like you just know. So it's not one of those things where it's going to bother me. But a lot of people were mad that he used the pistol. And I'm like, well, technically, like, I mean, it made sense. He was backed into a corner and he had literally nothing to help himself, but he had a plan B on his ankle. So he made sure that he used it. I thought it was honestly, I loved how it was like a spit in the face, or like not a spit in the face, but a big middle finger to like the whole cliche horror trope that they can only use knives. Like, I respect that more than somebody who like, oh, pulls out a knife and then throws it and it hits him between the eye or some shit. I think that's more dorky than somebody actually having a pistol in their possession. But you should watch Terrifier though, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I know exactly what you mean. I think one of the reasons that horror movies lean on that is because when you have a long, gory scene, it sort of lends itself to the notion that the killer's a more sadistic and depraved person. Like if you think about it, you know, some of these killers who simply shot people, you could say that they were like, you know, some of these spree killers, like Mark Barton, real life serial killer or a spree killer. So he just snapped one day. But some of the more depraved serial killers, I mean, they were like, you know, like Ted Bundy. Why would he strangle women with her pantyhose and things like that?
Yeah,
So, you know, those idea, the idea I think is to first, you know, you're drawing out the carnage in order for people to really look at the killer as more deranged than just the average murderer.
yeah,
So I think there's certainly, you know, that you lose something when you have them use just a firearm or something.
yeah. I could definitely see that. But like I said, in certain situations, it's kind of warranted. Like that's why I feel like in Terrifier it was done with taste, and it honestly made the scene freaking hilarious to me, and I liked it. And also, like, have you seen? I don't think you've seen Maniac. You've seen Maniac, the original
Is it
from the 80s?
Maniac the one that the song is based on? I haven't seen it, but the song by Michael Sembello.
You mean the I'm the Maniac? That?
He's a maniac, man.
Nah, I
Yeah.
don't.
So,
Nah, I think that was based off of a movie that was dancing, like
well,
a.
yeah, but originally he, you know, it appeared in Flashdance, but when he wrote it originally, it was supposed to be for that movie. I think they passed it over,
Oh, I gotta look
and
that up.
yeah, like the word he had changed the wording. It was originally he's a maniac, and then because, you know, obviously what's her name, Jessica Biel is a woman and she was a stripper, you know, and the movie was about dancing. Then so yeah, I've heard of Maniac, but like that was the one with Machete, right?
Nah, he had a. Well, that dude, he used a various amount of weapons. So like, he used mostly a knife. But in one scene in particular, he uses a shotgun. So like, and it has like one of the best head blown scenes I've ever. Like, there's a lot of head explosion and head blown scenes I've seen in horror movies, but this movie has one of the best ones that I've seen. Like, it's like this couple sitting in a car making out, da 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 da, whatever. They're setting the mood, and she's like, "I think somebody's out there," because you see all the fog, and the guy's like, "Eh, shut up, like, you know, hey, don't worry, stop being so scary." And he keeps on trying to make his move. All you see is this guy just run out of the shadows, and he jumps on the hood of the car and then poses in like a military stance, and he just shoots the shot through the window, and it hits the guy square in the face, and it just makes his head explode. It's one of the to me that was like one of the best, aside from Scanners. That probably had one of the best blown scenes that I've seen in a long time. Have you seen
Well,
Scanners?
I think I saw the preview for Scanners is one of the funniest things ever, but I still have not seen Scanners. I think you told me to watch it, so I guess I'll watch it sometime whenever I have the chance. But I think the idea that like if you're gonna use a gun, the scene has to be something like you said, like real gore, like the head just pops like a balloon, and then if there's someone else there, you hear them scream, especially if it's a woman,
Yeah.
And or the other idea is you have them hit him like in the leg, and they are like, crawling away like, no, don't kill me. Stuff. So you have to. There are ways to turn that scene into something, suspenseful, but like Silent Night, Deadly Night Part Two, he was just shooting people and it was like a fatal shot every time. That's not.
Yeah, he's just
It's not a
walking down
horror
the street.
movie.
Bah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm taking out my trash today. Bah.
Garbage
Like
man.
yeah, exactly, right. So and then I think he had a real. There wasn't he. There was also a really stupid scene in the movie theater in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Oh yeah. That's why, I think it was funny as a movie because you see those two people in the back of the movie theater that are talking and giving away the spoilers. So spoiler alert, but they're giving away the spoilers at the movie, and he sneaks up on them and meanwhile his date is oblivious to the whole thing. So that
Exactly.
I think that was funny, but it was also obviously pretty dumb. Um, so yeah, I would say definitely there's very few positive points to Silent Night, Deadly Night Part Two. Um, but like I would say on that note, going back to the Ice Cream Man, it was a little unexpected that he wasn't killing those kids. He was only killing like some of the adults that he was coming after.
Yeah, I was thinking about that little Macaulay Culkin kid. I thought he was done for. That kid looked just like Macaulay Culkin with like some freaking
That
big.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But the one thing that caught me, all right, look, the one scene to me that was the most stupidest thing in the movie was when he was on top of the ice cream truck and he had the two scoopers in his hand and he jumped down and then knocked out the two police officers with the scoopers or whatever. That had to be one of the stupidest scenes in the whole damn movie. And this movie is full of like pretty ridiculous scenes. But that scene in particular was like, get out of here. Like, get out of here, man. That shit was stupid. That part lost me.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
probably
I think the other scene that I thought was like one of the dumbest scenes I've ever seen was when they were going through the insane asylum, those two cops, and one of them was basically behaving like nothing was happening, and the other one was completely freaking out, and yet, they were. I mean, you have to go back to it's hard to explain to somebody who hasn't watched the film. Like you have these two idiots, they show up with no backup to an insane asylum, and they only radio for help like after it just doesn't make any sense. And the whole scene is like basically it's like a Cyndi Lauper video from the 80s. Like it's a
that
cartoon
scene was
version of
dragged out way longer than it should have been.
right.
That
And
scene
and
was a lot longer than it was supposed to be.
yeah, that was like a pretty dumb scene. And basically every scene that involved the police was pretty stupid. The
Oh
one where
yeah,
they raided his not his
ice cream
storefront,
shop,
but
a
yeah,
parlor,
yeah, that was pretty stupid.
and they were like knocking over everything and just ripping things apart. And you didn't notice that there was like, and it was funny because they ripped everything apart, and it just seems like the little storage room. It seemed like they touched nothing.
Right. And then they're like you see him basically just complying with the I just think it was just all around it was a film that, like you said, it had a lot of potential, and they basically squandered it, both with the design decisions and the woman who was like the other thing is he murders this woman's dog, and she doesn't really stop and say, well, who's the only person who really hangs around here? um,
Yeah, but she was kind of out of it too, supposedly. Like she was a nurse at the ward, and then it turns out that everybody at that ward was crazy. So,
right, yeah,
like I guess we can give her a pass, but her negligence and her just like absent-mindedness to the whole situation was just stupid. Like when they were playing hide and seek, she was like, "Oh yeah," like when they're playing hide and seek with the kids, and she just was completely oblivious to the fact that this man is about to kidnap these kids. Uh, Oh man, just thinking about that movie. Like the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, dude, that shit was crazy.
The other thing is remember when the kids get together and they have like that squad and they have those
Yeah,
stupid rockets on their bikes?
man, I was wondering what the hell was the Rockets for. I sat there and they shot it at a cop car. I sat there like, what is this supposed to do? Like, you got what are they called? The Space Squad or the Rocket Squad or something stupid?
Yeah, and they also had these walkie-talkies, but they were always in the same. They were always like a few feet away from each other. So why did they even have those, or two-way radios, whatever they were? It was, and they were so obvious. Like you had an antenna that was stretching like maybe 3 feet on top of their head. It's like I mean, I could go on, and yeah, again, I mean, you have to. I mean, go ahead. You can keep going. I'm gonna look for a photo of these cops from the Ice Cream Man, because they're every single scene. They just their clothes were stealing the scene.
I was surprised that I was wondering where the kids got the little military fatigue from when they were doing a recon mission on Gregory. I'm like, where did you guys get? These guys have full military get up, and then on top of that, when the dad went to his room to go check and see if his daughter was there, and she was in the room, and I'm just sitting there like, you don't notice this little girl is like super sweaty and sitting in like camouflage uniform. Like, there's no way that you don't notice that. But you had, like I said, you had the stupid cops in the movie who are just sitting there, just like, completely oblivious and not doing their job. But I will say this: some of the, not all, but some of the practical effects in this movie were pretty cool. I kind of like the heads on the ice cream cone things. That was pretty cool, and also the heads on top of the little scoopers, and he was talking with them. Like that was pretty dope too. But I digress. I still enjoyed Ice Cream Man more than Silent Night, though. I'm just gonna say that.
Well, yeah, Silent Night, Deadly Night. You could have like it didn't have any sort of um, there was nothing unique about it. Like he was just some guy in sweatpants and a crew neck who was just running around and shooting a few people.
It would have been better if he had an elf uniform. That's what I think. I think he should have been an elf.
It would have made a little more sense, because he would have been, oh, I'm here, fulfilling the vision of my brother and blah blah blah. Like
right? I'm the elf. Elf on a shelf.
yeah, let me just show this screen.
Go for it.
1 second. This is how, like, 1 second. Oh, here we go. Here's share screen. Oh, you need to enable it.
Oh, hold up. All right, you should be good now.
Okay, here we go. So so you see this guy, he has can you see it now?
Yeah.
He has this red tie on a plaid shirt with a tweed jacket. And this isn't the best shot, but like he just you see a guy walking around like this, you're like, do you really I mean, does your wife look at you before you leave the house in the morning and not tell you, maybe this is a bad idea? Like I've met people who dress like that, who and I mean, this was like very I mean, if people think I'm sort of beating a dead horse here, they should watch the movie and they'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Hold up. Let me see if I can find this. But yeah, that to me, that was like, yeah, I never even noticed the costumes like that. I've only, in all honesty, when you said it, I didn't really pay.
I think when I started seeing that, I'm like, yeah, I think the directors might have intended this movie as sort of a parody, but there's no other way to explain it, because normally you have, you have a cop wearing more of like a reserved suit, like if you watch any of these, like you've seen LA Confidential, they're just wearing like a regular, usually a black tie, maybe a light colored shirt, and some jacket that's not too formal or whatever. Like that's, and even in horror movies, I think they tend to have like more subdued choices in their suits. So
yeah. I never even noticed that. Like
your mic just got fuzzy.
I said I never really noticed that. Thing that I've noticed. Let me make sure. Okay, yeah. The one thing that I noticed is that they were just shitty actors. I didn't even pay attention to most of their attire. I just realized that they were really shitty actors. Let me show you
Oh
something.
yeah.
Let me see. This is the scene that I'm talking about from Maniac. Wait, hold on. Let me see something. Let me make sure something before I, because I want to be able to actually, for them to actually hear this in the video. So hold up. Because if I don't do this right, yeah, see, I didn't even have it on the right settings. All right, there we go. Yeah, because then they'll be hearing the audio from my mic. Is it muted?
I can hear it.
Can you hear it?
Yep.
You can't say that ain't one of the. Were you able to hear it?
Yeah, absolutely. And they, you know, it has all the, you know, first of all, they slow it down.
Hold on, let me see
They
something.
they have her like, yeah, I heard it fine. I think the audience will be able to hear it too.
I don't. For some reason, I'm not able to hear you. Let me see something.
How about now?
Yo.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, man, we done lost the.
You still can't hear me? You're on mute now.
Yeah, it was on my end. My bad. Were you able to hear the audio with the video?
Yeah, I heard the whole thing.
All right, cool, perfect. That's what. Yeah, for some reason, like it changed the settings mid share, so I wasn't able to hear anything. And yeah, because it changed the settings to something else. I don't know, but as long as you were able to hear it, I'm pretty sure the video was clear. But so, what did you think about the head explosion scene?
Well, yeah, it has all the elements that were missing from the Silent Night, Deadly Night scenes, except for the nun scene. You know, you have the anticipation with the woman seeing the guy and him jumping up on, and it was all in slow motion. And even after the shot, it was in slow motion. So that's the way you do standard horror movie effects in order to extend the suspense. Now, if you just have a guy getting shot and you know they just keeps moving on, then I mean whatever. And the other thing is like after he shot the guys in Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, he just walks around and it just gets more and more stupid. Like there was the car that approaches and he shoots it in the radiator grill and it explodes.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
I mean, it's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, that movie really was like over the top with some of the things that it did. Can you think of like any other like it could be crappy movie, like crappy horror movies, or it could just be like crappy horror, like a scene in a movie or something.
You mean in terms of like where they don't do the scene as hard as they could?
Or well, yeah, watch. Or something like this. I don't know if you've ever seen this. Hold up. I don't know if you've ever seen this.
Androids, they were built to protect us.
Ah, an ad. Hold up. Hold up. Let me get rid of the ad real quick. I hate ads. Okay. All right, here we go. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but this is the freaking funniest thing ever. This is it. body shot. And this literally goes on for like almost 2 minutes.
Take your best shot. Motherfucker.
Ah, classic. Stuff like that, man. Like,
Well, I remember. Have you seen Mars Attacks?
oh hell yeah, that movie's
So,
that movie is
Yeah.
classic.
so remember when Jim Brown starts just punching these aliens and
Hey, see, that
breaking
was
their-
tight.
Yeah.
That was
But-
warranted.
right, but I mean, you think like, come on, is he really gonna like their glass screens don't, you could just punch them and they break. I mean, and then the other one I'm thinking of is Will Smith in Independence Day punches that alien and knocks it out after
Oh,
he
yeah.
find. Like I was like, yeah.
So, what did you think about Jason and his first boxing match?
Well, yeah. I think like the whole key to the Jason character is that he's some sort of like, Lurch-like character. Oh, so you finally get to test the whole, how invulnerable is he? But I don't think somebody would like it. It is sort of like stupid because he's punching him in the face mask first. Like it just defies logic. If you're gonna, I think that was meant to be sort of a gimmick scene too. But it was funny, like especially the part where he does punch him and Jason punches his head off. Like you can see that even without like a blunt instrument or some sharp object, he can create some sort of gory death.
Yeah, like, but that's one of the worst. That is definitely one of the worst Friday the 13th. Jason Hits Manhattan, hands down, is the worst one. Hands down. But what about this? Hold up. Let me make sure it's not an ad's not gonna pop up. Hold up. Because YouTube loves their ads.
Oh man,
Let me
they
see.
live on their ads.
Seriously. Ah. Okay, yeah. All right, cool. I know this might look familiar to you. Hold up.
Julie, the points, the rules, what are they?
Okay, let me see if I can remember the whole list. Now, Jews, swamps, niggers, and chinks. They're all worth 25 points. But Puerto Ricans, they're worth 30 points. Now, kids under 12, they're worth double points.
Skippy, don't forget your helmet.
Okay, sis.
And be careful out there.
Julie, does it count if I graze them?
Gotta destroy them. Bozo. I want them dead.
Now we're gonna get him. Come on! Come on! Come on! Where the fuck is everybody? Where the fuck is everybody?
And then the music, you're just so happy.
Right.
How much is a kid on a bicycle?
He's guzzling Jack Daniels.
28 points if you can get both the kid and the bike. Let's take a closer look.
Those flames on the side.
Cute
Ugh.
little boy, isn't he?
Out pretty late, aren't you, honey?
The coast is clear, Bozo.
We got him. gonna get him!
Does he reverse over?
Yeah.
Now you get full point. No, wait! The kid's still moving! We're not finished yet!
He's still moving. No way you get full points.
No way, huh? No way. I'll fucking show you no way.
Have a drink.
Come on, girl! Ready, go!
Full points, my man.
Wow! Oh my God! These are gonna be the best shots we've ever taken.
That movie, if nobody's seen it, they need to see Toxic Avenger. That's like the crappiest movie ever, but it's like hard not to finish.
Well, yeah. I think though Toxic Avenger, you could probably make the case. There's no way that they weren't like trying to, like, definitely ham it up and make it like as campy as possible.
Yes. Have you seen, speaking of camp, have you seen Sleepaway Camp?
No, I didn't see Sleepaway Camp.
Watch
Ashamed
that.
to say.
Watch it just for the ending.
I think you know what? I think I did start Sleepaway Camp last week. I just
Watch
didn't
it just for
finish
the end. Well, did you? Okay. You watched Sleepaway Camp, right? Not Return to Sleepaway Camp, or some sort of modern. It's like an '80s version.
Let me check. It's probably on my, recent watch list. But
The fact that this dude in the Toxic Avenger had an electrocution chair styled gear shift was killing me. Oh man, because I was like, why? I couldn't take it.
I was watching Slumber Party Massacre.
Oh, that one's
Sorry.
Yeah, that one's cheesy too. Is that the guy with the drill?
Yeah.
That's the guy with the drill. Yeah.
I mean, let's put this on the table here. I don't think you'll disagree. A lot of these movies were just ways for, they were like basically creating, combining softcore porn and, just like a lot of violence, so that technically it wasn't like some of these movies would have been X-rated if it wasn't for the fact that these ladies were getting like slaughtered.
Yeah.
Because, like,
I mean, Full Moon made tons of money off of that. Like, there's a lot of like sometimes you watch these movies and you're just like, dude, like, is this really a movie or is this like something disguised as a movie?
yeah, it's like the director there. He's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get to the stab scene soon, but a little bit more of the heavy petting. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I mean, and that's crazy because 80s films are very notorious for that whole gimmick.
Yeah.
But I think Friday the 13th honestly made that gimmick kind of popular. The whole like teenage sex scenes and them getting murdered.
Yeah, the morality play involved. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Friday the 13th made that very popular. Well, before we wrap this up, do you have any more movies or recommendations of crappy movies that people should watch?
Recently, so let me think. I was watching Last Resort. That's not a horror movie, but it is an awful movie. If you want to watch it. Yeah, it's from I think 1986. And another absolutely abominable movie. Let me think. There was one that I watched, I think, let me see here. I do want to see, by the way, I wanted to ask you, Gingerbread Man, was that movie you liked, or did you not see it yet?
I have never seen that, but I think that's a Full Moon. I think that's a Full Moon movie, because I think it's like Ginger Dead Man or something. I feel like they had him fight against because there's a freaking Full Moon has the most dumbest lineup of movies. So they have I think they have the Ginger Dead Man, and they have one called the Evil Bong. So I guess it's a bong that kills people. I don't know. Yeah. So I've never seen it though.
I did see The Gate.
The Gate.
You might have mentioned that to me.
The Gate.
was a
Isn't that
good
the movie
movie.
with the Isn't that the movie where like they have like a it's like a some sort of like tunnel or something in the
Right, there's
backyard?
like some portal from hell, and these disgusting creatures are creeping out of it.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. Like I personally like I don't know if I have a different taste. Like the slasher films aren't my bread and butter. Mine's are like the possession and demon films, like The Omen. Like The Omen for me was like the big movie that, you know, I watched it like middle of the night first time with on a full moon night. I was like, oh, this is the greatest movie ever. And then every single exorcism film that I've seen since then doesn't quite meet that standard, except maybe Rosemary's Baby, I think was one that I really liked.
Exorcist 1 was amazing.
Right. You know what? The movie you recommended me that I think was great was Alice Sweet Alice. That was a
Hell
classic.
yeah. Alice, I got the poster right there. That movie is
Yeah.
amazing. I love that movie. And that fat guy is weird.
Oh yeah, that it turns out that guy, I think, he died not long afterward. He had some sort of mental breakdown and he killed himself.
Was he really that fat or was that a suit?
No, that was like the real deal. It was like a
Really?
actual obese guy. Yeah.
Have you, all right, before we go, have you seen the French Home Alone?
No, should I want to? Because I personally like. How long was it?
All right, so look, there's a movie that they call it the French Home Alone. And it basically was, they honestly were thinking about suing the creators of Home Alone saying that they stole their idea. I watched it. It's not a bad movie. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's called Deadly Games or something. Hold on, let me show you. I think it's called Deadly Games. This right here. It's French, but Deadly Games, Dial Code Santa Claus, Game Over, Hide and Freak, a 1989 French horror thriller. This movie right here with the little Rambo kid with the mullet, I'm telling you, little Rambo mullet is actually pretty funny. It's not bad. It's like, okay, it's like Home Alone if Home Alone was like had a little bit of like horror in it. Like if they were really trying to kill people in Home Alone. Like it's pretty interesting. I liked it. It's not that bad. If I can honestly find, I don't know if there's an American cut to this film, but I saw it online. I had to find a black market way to discover it.
Did you have to get like a subtitle track with it too, or?
It's in French. It's in French, so you have to read. There's no, I don't think there's no English dubs. It's French, but it's about this rich kid who's like obsessed with Rambo, and like his mom works at like this huge toy store, and he gets everything that he wants. And then this disgruntled worker from the mom's company, he ends up being really weird to kids. I think he hits a kid or something, and the mom fires him. So in order to get revenge on the mom, he's going to her house to kill her family. So like the whole movie is the kid trying to defend his house and his grandpa from being murdered by this disgruntled ex-employee.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, I think it's like, I don't know if that's sounds to me like a ripoff. I'd have to look at it.
No, you have, when you watch it and the fact that he's setting up traps and shit, that's the Home Alone ripoff,
Oh,
right?
okay, yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like him trying to protect his home from this invader, and like you see him setting traps and everything, and he's like, it honestly makes you feel like you could see why the case for it might be a Home Alone ripoff can come into fruition. But I would recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought that Avatar ripped off Fern Gully, but that's just
Dude,
me.
Fern Gully is my shit. Not too many people know about that movie.
Well, I don't think it was that well made, but
I still liked it. It
Except
wasn't
for Tim
Robin Williams.
Curry.
Robin Williams was that crazy bat, right?
yeah, and Tim Curry's like the villain.
I didn't know Tim Curry was in that movie. That's crazy.
He was.
I just
he was
found
in
out Pee Wee
Smoke
Herman
Team.
was a vampire in some movie. I need to find that movie. I didn't know he was a vampire. Pee Wee Herman apparently is a vampire in a movie, and he looks nothing like himself. So I low-key want to see that.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that's the end of the segment. This is Dave from the 80s, and you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. If you want to find out my friend Ramon and follow his channel, he does political commentary. If that's some stuff that you're into, you do a few movie reviews though, right?
Done movies. Done a lot more books though.
Oh,
a
he
lot
does
of books are a lot of
book
true crime books. You know, I've done on you know, some stuff on like you know, different controversial conspiracy theories, and you know, like more true crime stuff than necessarily movies. But yeah, once in a while I'll do a movie review.
Yeah, because I see you did this one movie that came out like maybe a year or two ago. It was like about wasn't it? It was something based in Beirut, wasn't it?
I don't know about Beirut.
I don't know. Wait, not Beirut. It was something. It was something that happened. It had something to do with like world politics or something. I don't know, but I remember you reviewed it.
I
And
think
I wanted
there was one movie I did Chappaquiddick a review of it, and I actually got a YouTube strike on it. By the way, I think you might end up getting like, I don't know if you keep sharing with the sound on when you play these clips, but YouTube like seriously effed me with that strike. I couldn't live stream for about 5 months because of it.
Oh, really? I
And
thought that
that's what's so stupid, because it wasn't a live stream that I produced. I did like an upload like you're about to do, and they took away my live streaming. It's like, what does one have to do with the other?
yeah, because when I did when I do trailer reactions and things like this, like they just say, "Oh, this video can't be monetized," and I'm like, "Okay, I don't care."
Right. They might have like looser restrictions based on whichever studio you're talking about. But yeah, I have a channel on YouTube called Bold Like a Leopard. I'm not doing as much videos as I used to. I do more writing, so you can find, you know, most of my writing is under the name Ray McCoy, and you can find me usually, most of my stuff's on American greatness. But yeah, like Davey said, it's mostly about current events and political issues and things like that.
All right. So with that being said, you guys are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the way out. And until next time, adios.